Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome to the Jello Jiggling podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Ward, and the Lakers have lost yet another game in blowout fashion. Last night, they played against the Phoenix Suns in Arizona, and for lack of a better word, they got their asses kicked. It was kind of a clinic from start to finish for Phoenix. LA didn't really have much of a chance throughout the whole game. Booker was on. KD came on late. AD played okay, 25 points, kind of a more of a regular stat line for him. But LeBron struggled. Those turnovers keep being a killer for him. Let's see what he's averaging right now. So, I mean, LeBron's putting up pretty crazy stats, for his age and all that stuff. But we hear that every other day. I mean, I don't think that stuff matters as much if you're not winning games. It's incredible if you're winning games. If you're not, it's, good. It doesn't matter. Let's see. What is he averaging? 3.9 turnovers per game. I don't know if that's like what I should have had all this ready. When you do a podcast, you kind of jump from one thing to another. You got a set kind of game plan, but then sometimes it evolves into something else, and it has already done that for me. Not good. Averaging almost 4 points a game, and you're like the guy who has the ball in his hands damn near the entire time. The frustration with this team is the fact that they're not stacked in the talent department by any stretch. They got some serious flaws, kind of all over the place. But when they're locked in and they're playing with effort and everything, it's sorry, I'm watching the Liverpool game at the same time. So they almost just scored against Real Madrid. But anyway, when they're locked in, the effort's there. They look like they can play with anybody. But it's always a question mark. I mean, you'd figure after getting destroyed by Denver, embarrassed at home by 27 points, they'd come back, bounce back with a vengeance against Phoenix yesterday. They had Sunday, Monday to kind of, assess. It's not a big road trip to get to Arizona. But it didn't seem to matter in any ways, shape or form. I think the one thing, the kind of self-imposed problem that JJ has created is throwing Rui back in the starting lineup and having Dalton Knecht come off the bench. It just hasn't worked. This kid is an absolute stud in the starting lineup. I mean, for the season right now, he's averaging 11.2 points per game, 2.8 rebounds, 1.1 assists. I mean, the rebounds and the assists don't particularly matter. You want scoring from this kid. That's what they drafted him for. He's a scorer. He's a shooter. He gives you that pop that you need outside of AD and LeBron and Reeves. So that those numbers aren't huge, but then you go to him as a starter, and they jump up considerably. 19.6 per game points, 4.6 rebounds, an assist per game. Free throws, 85.7. I mean, that's not even a question mark. That guy's such a good free throw shooter where you want him shooting technical free throws, right? Like he's you be your guy. He's shooting 50% from three as a starter. 50. 55.4 from the floor as a starter. Now, this is a small sample size. It's only 5 games. But for a rookie, that's pretty damn good, man. 33.6 minutes per game. What is he on the season? Let me see. I'm looking at splits here, so there's just all sorts of stats all over the place. It's just the kid's remarkable. He's so much better than they anticipated. So on the season, he's averaging 22.8 points or minutes per game, and then averaging the 11 points in those minutes. I feel like he doesn't get the shots. He kind of feeds off the attention that AD and LeBron get when he's out there. I mean, he's kind of gotten starter minutes regardless, but it's just I don't know. It's not. I mean, he only played 19 minutes last night. 19. So when he was starting, you're looking at 37 against New Orleans, where he scored 27 points. 38 against Utah, where he scored 37, career high. 39 against Orlando, he scores 17. And then it drops down considerably against Denver, 28 minutes, 9 points. Against Phoenix last night, 19 minutes. I mean, another huge drop, 7 points. I mean, there's zero impact, basically, with him coming off the bench. And I don't get it because I don't understand if Rui was like, an absolute stud as a starter, but he's not like at all. He's just not that good. I mean, I think Rui's a talented guy, but I don't think he's moves the needle, or he's not a game changer. Like when I heard that JJ was going to like put him back in the starting lineup when he got back, without a question, with almost like it's a foregone conclusion, I was like, did you watch the 5 games that Dalton started? I mean, really? Were you paying attention? He changed everything. The energy was different. When he gets going, the crowd in LA goes insane. It's infectious. I mean, he's got a contagious energy. I mean, the guy is not pure entertainment in terms of an energy guy, yelling, screaming, shouting, and all that stuff. He's very quiet. He's very subdued, but he's like a Klay Thompson. I mean, I think whoever came up with that comp originally hit the nail on the head. He can't play defense like prime Klay could, but he can light it up the way Klay can offensively, and he can shoot the lights out. So it's so glaringly obvious that he changes the game for the Lakers and his teammates and the crowd. I mean, he infects everything in a good way, right? Or impacts, I guess would be a better word there. But looking at Rui's stats, I mean, Rui maybe be a better rebounder, but when it comes to defense, I'd say they're pretty dead even. Maybe Rui's a little bit better, but not like if you were comparing Cam Reddish to Dalton, which would be the polar opposite, because Cam goes without scoring some games. I don't think he scored a point against Phoenix. Whereas Rui was in the starting lineup yesterday and scored 7 points. So exactly the same offensive production. But you switch those guys, you could still get 7 points or more out of Rui off the bench. Excuse me. And Dalton could blow up for 30. I mean, he's not going to do that all the time. There's not enough ball to go around. And he's got to get hot and them continuing to feed him in order to do that. But consistently, I mean, it's just his average in general, 19 points. You can expect 15 to 20 points from Dalton as a starter. And with the potential to absolutely explode offensively, which will impact and be contagious for the rest of the guys on the floor. It makes JJ's job easier. That's what I don't understand. It's so obvious. Start the kid. Start him. I would understand if he started off super slow. Like, I mean, I hate to compare Bronny, but Bronny coming in and he just does nothing offensively, right? And then halfway through the season, Bronny's putting up 10, 15 points. If you're going to slow roll him that way, or if that's the way he's going to progress, then fine. I understand where there would be some kind of, a decision-making process, but that's not the case with Dalton. Dalton is a bona fide stud. I mean, already he is developed. He is ready to play. He's earned a starting spot, in my opinion. He just has. And if the record was different, if they didn't lose this last 3 games, I would get it. But it just totally strengthens the case for him to be a starter. The fact that he wasn't a starter the last 2 games and they got blown out by 25 plus. 25 last night, 27 against Denver. I mean, it wasn't even a contest. Why not bring in a guy who can get hot early, can spread the floor, can put less pressure on AD because he's a threat from outside. I mean, he's on scouting reports now. He's not going to surprise anybody anymore. But he's good enough to where I think he's still going to put up numbers because he's just a natural scorer who can shoot. He's the best shooter on the team. I mean, I don't even think it's close. JJ Redick's probably the closest to him in terms of being the best shooter in the Lakers organization, I guess you'd say. I just don't understand where why did you make this decision? Why was it like you didn't want to piss off Rui? Were there promises made to Rui to be a starter when he signed his deal? I don't know. It just doesn't make much sense. And especially now that the results are different. The crappy thing is heading into tonight, the second game of a back-to-back in San Antonio against Wemby and CP3, Dalton is questionable, and so is Cam Reddish. I literally just tweeted this before I jumped on, and I didn't realize that there was an issue. But so here's the status report for tonight, right? AD is always on it with the same thing, left plantar fasciitis, probable. He'll play. That's just a kind of, they have to put it on there, I guess. Dalton Knecht, right quad contusion. So he's got a bruise on his right quad. I feel like you could play through that because I don't remember seeing anything like that last night to where it was hindering his play at all. But he's questionable. So it's got to be bothering him enough to where he might not play. If he doesn't play, I mean, this is a moot point for now, at least until Friday against OKC, where I think he has to play. Has to play and has to start. But if this is a problem that, carries over, that's going to suck. But Cam Reddish, left ankle soreness. I feel like Cam Reddish has been nursing an ankle injury for like 2 years. He's questionable. Jackson Hayes is doubtful. He re-injured the same ankle that kept him out for like 2 weeks. So that sucks. He's back on the mend. I mean, who knows when he'll get back? They say doubtful. I don't know why. He's not playing. Like, you don't roll the same damn ankle you just got back from and get helped into the locker room and then play the very next night. There's no way. I don't care who you are. And then all the typical other ones, like Bronny's out with a heel contusion. Vanderbilt still out with recovering from the foot surgery or feet surgeries, I guess, because it was both. Christian Wood still out. He's recovering from knee surgery. Jalen Hood-Schifino is with the South Bay Lakers. It's I don't know. This is all trending in the wrong direction. But if Knecht plays tonight, he's got to start. And if he doesn't, I don't know where the logic is. But JJ did say after the game, because he was questioned about it. Let me pull up the exact quote here. Asking about, the starting and everything. And I think JJ's logic before this was that he's getting the same kind of minutes, so what's the difference? But clearly there's a difference. And he acknowledged it, which I respect. I just hope he makes a better decision tonight or whenever, Dalton's available to play. We said maybe there's something to the flow that he can get to and the rhythm he can get to as a starter. Everything is always up for discussion. We'll look at everything. I hope you do, dude. I really hope you do. Because if you don't, you're going to get a lot of crap for it, and justifiably so. Because Rui's not a game changer. I mean, on any other team with a bit more talent, Rui barely sees the floor. That's the crazy thing. I mean, he's on this team, he's what would you put him? Second tier, top of third tier. I don't even think he's starting because there's just a serious lack of depth. There's not a lot of depth on this team, right? And Rui has his moments, but he also, there's a lot of these guys on the team right now who are hot and cold guys. You know what I mean? Where it's just not, there's no consistency with them. It's the same damn thing all the time. They have a breakout game, and you think that's the way it's going to trend from here on out, and then the very next game they go right back to where they were. It's just kind of, they are who you thought they were, kind of thing. I'd say Reeves might be the exception. He hasn't played great this year. He's been a hot and cold guy too, but at least with Reeves, you see the consistent effort. The guy is all effort. So he's like a coach's dream, right? And kind of a fan's dream. Like, you're a diehard, you look at him, killing himself out there, and even when he's struggling, the guy wants to play well. He doesn't just give up or just like, oh, I suck tonight, so I'm going to hesitate shooting or I'm going to play differently. It's just okay. So I would put Rui, D'Lo definitely in that kind of hot and cold Jekyll and Hyde zone, right? Where Reeves is on the fringe of that. And then you got Gabe Vincent, who he keeps getting opportunities for some reason. I think it's just because they don't have a choice. If they had a choice, I don't think Gabe would get DNPs every night, because he hasn't proven that he can. It's just, he hasn't proven anything since he's gotten to LA. And everybody thought, once he gets healthy, okay, maybe he'll be something. He'll be Miami Heat Gabe Vincent again, and that just hasn't happened. And I don't think it will happen. I think if they have the opportunity to trade him, to make the money work and whatever deal they get for whoever's coming back, they're going to do it. I think they would do it in a heartbeat. But that another unfortunate thing about the Lakers right now is their players are so undesirable. The ones that they want to get rid of, D'Lo, Vincent, Rui, they just think about it from the opposing team's perspective, or whoever they're talking to or trying to talk to. What would motivate them to make a deal? Unless they're tanking, right? Which, I don't know, like Utah. Utah, I think, is clearly tanking, or like doesn't care if they win or lose at this point, because they want to get Cooper Flag, just like damn near like the entire Eastern Conference, which is totally awful this year, right? But from their perspective, like, what they're looking at these guys and they're like, what the hell am I going to get out of any of these guys, right? D'Lo's, it's just a contract perspective, right? D'Lo is an expiring contract. So, at the end of the year, they can just say thank you for your service and don't let the door hit you on the way out, kind of thing. So who the hell knows where that's going? But I think the one thing that the team can change right now is throw Dalton Knecht back in the starting lineup. If it doesn't work, whatever. At least you gave it a shot. But I think it's going to work, because it did work before. The only difference was Rui got healthy and JJ had to make a decision, and he made the wrong one. And I'm surprised he hasn't made more bad decisions like that, considering being a first timer and all that. But it was anticipated that he would make mistakes, and this is one of them. But now you just got to rectify it. You got to change it. You got to shake it up again. Realize you made a mistake and change it back to what it was. I don't think it's gonna. I would respect the guy a hell of a lot more, rather than like just playing it out for another 10 games, and they got 8 losses in 10 games or something. Just something stupid. It's like, don't. It wasn't a problem in the first place. Like, it didn't need to be fixed. Like I say over and over and over again, when it comes to sports and coaching and people overthinking or thinking they're geniuses, don't fix what's not broken. Don't, because there's no point. Like, what are you doing? It's like everybody's trying to reinvent the wheel. Like, you're not. You're just, if it worked before, chances are it's going to continue working. So ride it until it ends. Like if Dalton played and didn't score, right, or missed, almost all of his shots or all of his shots or whatever, then fine. But he didn't. He was a stud. He was becoming a third. I mean, he was eclipsing Austin Reeves for that third star role behind AD and LeBron. Which is what makes this so crazy. Why was this decision made? I don't understand. What edge does Rui give you that Dalton Knecht doesn't? What, just rebounding? A little bit better defense? I mean, Rui's not a great defender at all. The guy can barely move side to side. It's about as stiff as he gets. I mean, he's not like slow, the slow pace that D'Lo plays. In fact, he can't move quickly. But anyway, I'm going to cut it off because we got a game tonight. No, only in a few hours, actually. It's an early one against San Antonio because it's in San Antonio. I believe it starts at 5:30 Pacific. So yeah, a few hours. We'll see. I'm sure that'll leak out before it happens, whether or not Rui's starting or Dalton's starting or Dalton's even playing. That's the big question. I mean, no one saw this questionable status coming. Questionable's not as bad as doubtful, but it can be just as bad because they're playing it safe. Because Dalton or Hayes is not playing. I will be shocked if Hayes plays. So let's see where this goes. Hopefully JJ, makes up for this mistake and gets him out there, and then Dalton blows up, and all of a sudden it's back to, having fun ahead of the holiday. I think we all want to head into this holiday with a smile on our face rather than being pissed off with another loss. Because the crazy thing is, you look at these two teams tonight, which you would think is completely lopsided. It's not. San Antonio is 10-8. The Lakers are 10-7. There's one loss difference between these guys. So, and they played them well last time. They played them well last time they played. So they're more than capable of winning, and they could have a better record than the Lakers after tonight. It's because they will be 11-8, and the Lakers would be 10-8. So we'll see. We'll see where this goes. JJ, it's on you, bud. But until next time, have a happy Thanksgiving, guys. Later.